1, 2, 3. Good girl.
This is the story of Freya, a dog who spent part of her life living inside a cage before finally finding the peaceful life she had always deserved.
Freya, this is my dinner.
Freya was found inside a cage in an unfurnished house. From what we were told, someone nearby had been hearing barking and eventually contacted the local dog warden. When they arrived to check the property, they found Freya there alone. No one knows exactly how long she had been living like that, but the conditions she was found in were heartbreaking.
Oh, good girl, Freya.
She had apparently only been fed once every 2 days. Inside her kennel, there was almost nothing, just a bowl, and that was it. No toys, no bedding, nothing to make the space comfortable. Looking at those conditions, it's hard to imagine how empty her days must have felt.
You keeping guard? Careful of that candle. Oh no, Freya.
When we heard about Freya, we decided to bring her home to live with us on our croft in Aberdeenshire, Scotland. It was going to be a completely different life from the one she had known. Instead of spending her days confined inside a cage, she would finally have quiet surroundings and a place where she could simply be a dog. It took us about 3 days to drive there and back, covering roughly 1,200 miles altogether, just to rescue her. We honestly weren't sure how she would cope with such a long journey after everything she'd already been through, but she couldn't have been better.
Is that a new toy, Freya?
We settled her into the back seat with a nice blanket and she looked completely comfortable. Before long, she curled up and fell asleep. For the rest of the journey, she stayed calm, and seeing her relax so easily was a huge relief for us. Today, Freya lives in the peaceful northeast of Scotland. One of the first things people notice about her is that her ears have been cropped. Whoever did that clearly wanted her to look aggressive or intimidating, but that's the complete opposite of who she really is. Freya has an incredibly gentle nature.
Freya's got a new toy arrived today.
Food has always been something she gets very excited about. Every mealtime still feels incredibly important to her. It often makes us think that in her previous life, every meal she was given may have felt like it could be her last. That excitement has never really left her.
3. 1, 2, 3.
We don't know every detail about Freya's past because much of her history is still unknown. What we do know is that she had been carrying a puppy. She gave birth, but sadly the puppy didn't survive. That's one of the hardest parts of her story to think about. We've often thought she probably had no choice but to use the bathroom inside the cage where she was living. No animal should ever have to experience that. Even now, there are still small reminders of what she went through. Sometimes she falls asleep standing up, and every time we see it, it's heartbreaking.
A little bit of kennel cough, didn't you, Freya? A bit of manuka honey.
One of the nicest things to watch has been seeing how much joy she gets from toys. She may never have had any before. Even now, she'll proudly carry one over to us, looking so happy with herself. It's such a simple thing, but knowing where she came from makes those little moments feel incredibly special.
Freya has just stole Jack's ball. That's not your ball, Freya. We've got visitors and you're supposed to be...
More than anything, what stands out about Freya is her resilience. Despite everything she experienced, she has such a gentle soul. She never became the aggressive dog that someone clearly wanted her to appear to be. Instead, she's affectionate, kind, and simply happy to be loved.
You okay? You got your little monkey? You okay, Freya? What are you doing up there?
Stories like Freya's remind us that we rarely know everything a rescue animal has lived through. Some of their past will always remain a mystery, but that doesn't change what they need most. They need safety, patience, and the chance to leave their old life behind.
This is your new home. Do you like it? Yeah?
Looking at Freya today, it's hard to believe she once spent her life inside a cage in an empty house. She now lives surrounded by peaceful countryside, enjoys her meals, proudly carries her toys around, and finally has a place where she belongs. If you've ever thought about adopting a rescue animal, I hope Freya's story encourages you to keep an open heart. Some rescues may need a little extra time to settle in, especially if they've come from difficult situations, but that doesn't make them any less deserving of love. Every rescue has a past, even if we'll never know the full story. Some have learned not to trust people right away, while others simply need time to understand that they're finally safe. The first few days or weeks may not always be easy, but with patience and consistency, many of them slowly begin to relax. Watching that change happen little by little is one of the most rewarding parts of giving a rescue animal a home.
Good girl. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Adopting a pet is a lifelong commitment, so it's important to be sure you're ready for that responsibility. They depend on you every single day, not just for food and shelter, but for security, routine, and companionship. Rescue animals don't need a perfect home or perfect people. They simply need someone who is willing to give them the time and understanding they may never have had before. If you can offer a safe place, patience, and kindness, you may completely change an animal's future. And in many cases, you'll discover that the bond you build with them becomes just as meaningful for you as it is for them.
Freya, this is my dinner. It's not for you.
Freya's story began inside a cage with nothing more than a bowl. Today she lives in the quiet countryside of Scotland, surrounded by love instead of neglect. She gets excited for every meal, proudly carries her toys around, and spends her days in the peaceful surroundings she never had before. Those small moments say more than words ever could about how far she's come. Her journey reminds us that every rescue animal deserves a second chance, no matter what they've been through. Sometimes all it takes is one person willing to say, "I'll give you a home." That single decision can change an animal's life forever, and more often than not, it ends up changing your own life as well.